All right, it's summertime. I'm fly fishing in central Pennsylvania. I'm about to do my favorite thing, use dry flies. Which ones? Stay tuned. Before we get into the flies, let's first talk about the notion of summer temperatures of the water. I'm standing by the water right now. It only takes me a few seconds to grab my thermometer and check out those temps. Once they start approaching the upper 60s, you gotta go and do something else. I mean, chase some largemouth bass, some bluegills, play beach volleyball, I don't care, but let those trout go. Also, with all of these flies, you can check the description down below in this video. I have links to videos that I recommend if you're into fly tying, but we're also gonna talk about ways to fish them. So let's go. In the summertime, one of my go-to dry flies, this is a simple one. It's a CDC flying ant. This is a fly that when it gets on the water, it just appears nearly irresistible to trout. What's special about this fly, whenever you cast it, 6 to 8 inches above a trout, sometimes they will actually move for that ant. They won't wait for it to come to them because, gosh, you show me a rising fish and I'll show you a fish that loves to eat ants. These ants are great. The other nice thing about them, you can also sink them just a little bit under the surface and fish are still willing to eat them. There are lots of ants out there. We have deer hair, we have foam, we have those with CDC. Is one better than the other? Yes and no. Whenever I'm fishing real calm water, I like to go with CDC. That CDC gives it a little bit of movement. It makes it appear a little bit more lifelike. If it's faster water, then I'm gonna go with deer hair or foam. But I do carry all three in my box. You should too. And what about colors? I mean, look at my box. You'll find black and brown. Those are kind of my two go-to ant colors. Though if I'm picking one over the other, I'm gonna be going black 99% of the time. What are your thoughts on your ant pattern and the color that you prefer? Summer dry fly fishing. I mean, whenever I think about it, what word comes to mind? I mean, simple, foam beetle. There is just so many memories that I've created on the water with beetles over the years. Whenever I fish a foam beetle, I like to use a tuck cast. So whenever I'm coming through, I stop my cast a little bit high and it forces that beetle to accelerate and plop on the water. Fish want that plop. Whenever they see that plop, they just want to slam that beetle, game over. So here's a sneaky tip I'll give you. Sometimes I'll see a rising fish in the summer. What's the first fly that I throw to that fish? You better know, it's the CDC ant. What if they ignore it? What do I try next? I'm gonna go with the beetle. Except my first cast, I'm not gonna drift it nice in front. I'm not gonna plop it down in front of the fish. I'm gonna actually cast it about 6 to 8 inches behind the fish, and I'm gonna make a splash. I've had so many fish over the years turn and just annihilate that beetle. Try that one. Another tip I just heard the other day, I was on a podcast called The Kayak Flyer. And it was really cool because the host was talking about his own experiences with beetles. And he loves to find a ledge, cast that beetle on the ledge, and then just gently nudge it off and allow it to plop into the water, almost natural like. He's had lots of success that way. Beetles, get them. Summer dry fly fishing, they're a go-to for me. What about the GRIFFITH'S gnat? I mean, think about all these midges you see in the summertime. They're all around right now. They've been annoying me while I've been making this video. But whenever they cluster up, they look kind of like a midge cluster. What's the perfect fly to represent that? It's simple. It's the GRIFFITH'S gnat. This is a fly that's been around for as long as I can remember. Why? Because fish love it. Go with the GRIFFITH'S gnat. I like to fish it on a really long tippet, a really long leader, get a lot of S-curves built into it so you can have a natural drift. There are times where I'll put mucilin or paillette paste the whole way down my leader and my tippet, and I'll kind of jerk it a little bit and have that GRIFFITH'S gnat kind of move towards me. Another sneaky little tip, whenever you're letting that fly drift, let it swing at the very end, and sometimes it will go underwater. But if you have it pre-treated with some floating, you just give it a couple little jerks and it will drift and then pop back up onto the surface. Almost looks like an emerging, midge cluster. I have no idea what fish think it is, but I know they like it when it's fished that way. You want to get simple? Let's go with the foam-winged midge. This is a fly that's easy to tie and really easy to fish. I mean, there's nothing to it. Tail, the body is simply thread, and you have a little piece of foam. I've been tying and fishing this fly for more years than I can remember. One of my greatest memories on Spring Creek in central Pennsylvania, right in Fisherman's Paradise, was using this little fly, drifting it drag-free over fish that I thought were like 8-inch wild brown trout. They weren't. They were like 18-inch wild brown trout. I caught 6 of them. I had no idea what was going on, but I knew it was because of one fly, the foam-winged midge. I like to tie and fish this one in black, white, and gray. I have an old video, you can find the link down below in the description. Tie it just that way. That's still how I tie and fish them today. All right, I'm torn on number 5. I told you I only had 5, but I had 6. So the last 2 that I'm gonna throw out there, I mean, we gotta have some type of a hopper. That's where I insert a fly called the Moodah Poodah. For those of you who already have my book, Fly Tying for Everyone, you know this fly. I featured it in that book. It's from my friends at Fly Fish Food. I mean, I've used this fly to represent hoppers, to represent cicadas, just to use as a dry dropper. It floats a really heavy nymph. It's a great go-to fly. But in the summertime, I also know we have a lot of sipping trout, and they love BWOs, which stands for bluing olives. So there's this fly that I tie called the bluing olive shuttlecock. Gosh, it just sits so nice. It has a CDC wing. It just goes slightly subsurface. Again, I like to fish this one drag free. I'll even use it on a Euro nymphing dry fly leader. Now, if you want the dimensions of that leader, send me an email. I promise you, I will give you the dimensions. But I'm stuck between those 2 flies, so this is where you have to come in. You gotta vote. If you were going between the Moodah Poodah or my bluing olive shuttlecock, which one would you choose? Put it down below in the comments. I can't wait to see which one you go with. And now, before we wrap this up, all right, couple things. First of all, which flies did I forget? Because I know there's flies that all of you use in the summertime that I'm not thinking about, dry flies only. Leave those down below in the comments section. If you're into fly tying, by all means, tie your favorite dry fly. Post it on social media, use the hashtag Trout and Feather. I can't wait to see it. And also, like this video. You've watched this far, click that like button so others will experience some of my favorite dry flies and hopefully read about yours down below in the comments section. If you'd like to watch more videos like this, you can check out my website, which is troutandfeather.com. Questions or comments? My email is on the screen right now. I look forward to answering all of you. And then finally, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see many of you soon.